All right, so welcome to our live instructional webinars designed to support the Memory Book Online Yearbook program. Today, we will be focusing on the functions that relate to building activity or candid pages. So specifically, we will be reviewing page bleeds and margins, the toolbar, designs, functions, and then going over the templates that we have and how you can kind of change those into custom templates to make them your own throughout the book. And then we're going to wrap up on themes. And on themes, it's just how to incorporate like the theme artwork, backgrounds, and clip art that go along with any kind of any one of our standard covers that we offer for the season. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to jump to a different page here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. First thing that I'm going to explain or go over is we're going to talk about bleeds and margins. And the first thing is kind of going and explaining the concept of bleed and what that is in terms of printing. So in printing, when we talk about what bleed is, it's full color that extends beyond the edge of the page, so that when your pages go to be trimmed, it's leaving full color all the way to the edge of the paper and not leaving any kind of unsightly, kind of edging or, white edging from the paper to where, your background didn't extend on top of it. So when looking at our pages and looking at, the bleeds and the margins in that, I'm going to use this purple square here, come in a little bit. Oop. Now, when looking at one of our pages, this inside blue line that we have here, this is our margins, this is your inside page margins, and this is your safe area. So any text or images, things like that, you'll want to keep here within the blue, and that way it keeps it out of risk from being trimmed or cut off or being lost in the middle of part of the yearbook. Moving beyond the blue is the estimated trim line. Now, this is where it's estimated for the page to be trimmed at. The reason we say it's estimated is because there could be up to 1/8 inch of a variance there. And that's due to just once something or, once these pages are in production, um, factors that can come into play are, the trimmer itself, the machine that these are being put onto. So it just depends on, is that, got a good blade on and, is it working well that day? It could also could come into just even the operator that is working that machine that day. So there could be a little bit of wiggle room here up to 1/8 of an inch. So very, very, very minor. And now moving beyond here, this gray area that you see here, this is the bleed area. This is what is estimated to be trimmed off. So when building your pages, really the only thing, unless you're doing a candid, or I mean a collage page where you're just throwing photos onto a page and building one that way, um, really the only thing you want extending out here would be a background that will go out beyond the blue. And that way you'll have full color that goes to the edge. And when your pages go to get trimmed, you won't, if you have your backgrounds all the way out, it'll be nice, clean color all the way to the edge, no unsightly kind of white edging or anything like that. Now also kind of going along with bleeds and margins, I'm going to scale this down just a little bit. Some other things is if you are building a collage page where you're just bringing images on, because you can build a page, just by dragging and dropping your images onto a page, and then size them to your liking. And you can keep on just bringing other images over, sizing, repositioning them. But if building a page where you're just filling it with photos, filling it all the way, um, you need to keep in mind of which photos you're putting out to the bleed in that. So photos, if you're building a collage page just with photos, when you're putting the photos on, it's looking at what space you have that can get trimmed off. So with this picture example right here, when building the book, um, places or parts of the photo you're going to put out to the bleed or to the edges are going to be usually, areas of photo that are empty space or background that, there's nothing, it doesn't hurt that certain areas trimmed on here. It's not the important part. The important part of your photo is kind of right here in the middle. So with a photo like this, if you were putting it out to the edge, it would work really good on the outside edge of the book. Um, what's being trimmed off here, just a little part of the shirt. The important part of the photo is still within the blue margin line here, so their faces were thin. So pretty safe, nothing to worry about getting trimmed off here. The same if this was on the inside of the book. Um, this is just empty space that would be falling down into the binding when your book comes together. This book, this photo would also work well at the bottom of the page. Just a little bit of their shirts would be trimmed off, so I can show that. So just that's okay. Now on a photo like this, the only spot you really wouldn't want to put this is at the very top, because already this photo is right to the top of this student's head. And if you push on out to the bleed, his head's there, and his forehead is really close to the estimated trim line. And like I said, there could be up to an 1/8 inch variance. So if it did fall on the short side, I'm going to bring a guide down, and let's say it got trimmed just about like here. So you can even see that there's a little bit more of this student's head that is taken off there at the top. So a photo like this, I try to keep away from the top here. Um, Now, just another example I was putting on here, like on a photo where someone's really right up on the edge. So a photo like this, it could possibly work well on the inside. Most of this kiddo right here is still within the margins, so we're good. Just a little bit will fall into the gutter. Um, this photo to the top, uh, I, it'd kind of be okay, unless, already some of his, part of him's cut off. So, it could be okay here. It'd be okay at the bottom of the page. But something like this, I wouldn't be one of the images that I put out to the outside, because then we put this student more at risk of being trimmed off. So just wanted to kind of point some things out when you're working with your pages, the real estate that you have around you, and just make sure that if you build certain pages, watch just what kind of photos you put to the edge. That way you don't have any more trimmed off than what you necessarily need to have trimmed off. So, okay, from here, um, just to get to know the area, just get to know the land, I'm going to zoom in on the browser to where I can make these menus and that a little more visible here. All right, so when you're working on a page, just going over the menus really quick when going around them. Um, Upper left, we're going to start the top gray bar. So under File, this is where you're going to have things where you can normally save a page. Um, Also on the top toolbar here, this is a shortcut button for save, which is the kind of looks like an old 3.5 floppy disk. There. If you take any one of our um, templates and you modify it and make changes and you want to save it as your own layout, you'll come under File and do Save as Template. This is also where we can get page info. If we want to proof our page, do a PDF proof of the page for review, we can go under File and do View PDF. This is also a shortcut with the little printer page icon that's here. So we got a shortcut for that same function here. Moving over under Edit, we have your Undo and Redo, and those are shortcuts, quick shortcuts that are up here as well. We have our standard cut, copy, paste, and delete. We also have shortcuts, if you know the keyboard shortcuts for those. So Control X cut, copy is Control C, paste is Control V as in Victor. Now, if you're working on a Mac, just change Control to Command. So it'd be Command X, Command plus C, so on. We're going to come back to right here. We also have change background. So with change background, I'm just going to bring it up real quickly. So we have a background menu. That'll deal with the backgrounds that are on your page. And we're going to touch base. We're going to come back to this in a little while. But just want to let you know when you want to work on backgrounds, come under edit. It's here. Some other simpler options we have for text. We have some find and replace, and we have kind of like a spelling to where it checks for those things. Now it's not our spell check, and that is not as robust as something like you would see in Microsoft Office. So it's going to find stuff that it thinks is misspelled, but it's not going to be looking for grammar usage and stuff like that. Um, Another thing that it's not going to catch is the wrong word. Like if, let's say how to put this. So it's a correctly spelled. It's like if you go to put a word in, but you misspell it, but it still comes out as another word, it's not going to pick up on that. And I think that kind of falls back into grammar. Um, I just want to let you know it has some spell check, so definitely run it. But definitely when you're in the review, when you're reviewing before you submit your pages, it wouldn't hurt to have another set of eyes on these pages. You know, review like teacher notes or message from the principal, um, big kind of paragraphs or teacher dedications. It's always good, you know, run spell check on it, but definitely have another set of eyes on it before you submit it, just to be on the safe side. And then under the last, one of the last things under edit is select, and this is just if you want to quickly select different items on a page. So you can say you want to clear a page off quickly, you know, just completely clear all the content. You could come under select and choose all. That'll highlight everything on the page, and then you can hit delete and it'll clear it off. The only thing, it'll clear everything off but the background there. Let's say you just want to do certain formatting to your images on the pages. You just do select the images on your pages and do formatting to them. If you want to just select text boxes or shapes. Incomplete and locked. These will help you find locked elements if you're either not able to edit something or move something and not quite sure why. Um, Pull it up, find it's locked. It's there. So that's kind of some basics under edit. Moving over to view, this is where we have, you know, hide rulers and margins. We don't suggest hiding these. Um, we also have our zoom in and zoom out that is here. Now this is also shortcuts to this little area in the upper right. So you've got, you know, you can use the plus and minus to zoom in, zoom out, or you can use the drop down to pick a certain percentage, or if you want to show everything, just hit fit, and it'll put everything there on your screen. Um, Coming down below here, there is where you can switch between facing pages, where it shows as a whole 2-page spread, or there is, you can switch to single page. I'll save my changes here, so you can switch to single page. Where single page can come in pretty handy. So if you are the lone advisor, or maybe you're just one or two advisors or PTA volunteers working on a book, most of the time you're not working on the same 2-page spread. Usually, you know, you'll just leave it in spreads and kind of work on that. Now, one thing we might suggest is if you're working with a yearbook staff where you have students involved. While we normally recommend, you know, just assigning one student to one spread. That way they can have it open and work. Sometimes not always the case. Sometimes it may be, you know, I've got student A assigned to the left page. I have student B assigned to the right page. Well, they both can't work on the same time together or at the same time because it may create save issues. So if student B saves before student A, student B's changes are going to be honored on the page, while student A will have to save their changes as a template and apply it at a later time, you know, when student B is off the page. So to avoid that or avoid that situation, if you have a student, you know, 2 different students assigned to the same spread, you'll want to have them both come in here and change their page view to a single page. That way, student A is just seeing their page. Student B is only seeing their page. And um, what happens at this point is when either goes to save, they are just saving changes on just the page they're working on. But it's only possible when they're both in single page. And that way, one side's changes doesn't affect the other. Just wanted to throw that out there, if you run into that situation. But if not, most of the time, you'll just leave your edit facing pages. So last menu here is arrange. This is where you're going to see stuff like lock and unlock. So if you got items selected on a page, you want to lock them down, you can hit lock all. Now lock them in place. Now the locking is also a shortcut on the top toolbar. So there's a lock drop down. So I can just unlock those there. So also under arrange is group and back up. There's group and ungroup. So if you need to group certain items together, so we have group and ungroup here. These are also shortcuts right here. So we could group it. And when something is grouped, you'll notice that it'll be grouped and it has little dashed yellow lines around it here. To ungroup it, because some of our click and go templates in the program, which are just smaller groupings of templates, they will come onto the page like this, and then in order to edit them, you just have to ungroup them. So this is where you can group and ungroup things to quickly move things around together. Now also under arrange, now with these few items here, these options are also, if you have things selected, this little three looks like a stack of paper here. If I click arrange, this is where I also have those options such as, where you can arrange layering on a page, like send to front, send backwards, send to back, bring to front. You can also flip and rotate objects. But this is also where we have, and we can unpin this menu, leave it up. So if I have just these first three, so when we're looking at align, we do align top, middle, and bottom. This is where these three options are working with rows. So if I want to align them to the top, with all three of those selected, it'll just bring them and make them flush across the top there. Um, I'm going to highlight these three going down. So align left, center, and right are good for your columns here. So I'm just doing align right. That's going to bring everything this way. And it's going to nudge those back out there. So, so arrangement, when you have, if you want to line things up and get things straightened out on certain pages, a little different, or if you move something and you need to align something back, you can highlight those elements. And like I said, you can either come under the arrange and work with, so align horizontally, distribute your columns, vertically is actually your rows. And here back again, we have the arrange option, bring the front, send it back. So if we want to bring this in, so if we want to, I'm going to overlap these things. So if we're going to change the overlapping here, so I could do this one, send backward, or bring that up. I can send it to the back, can keep that one there, and I can come to this first one, bring the front, and that'll change the stacking order of those. And then mirror is, so I'm going to group that real quick just to show this one. So mirror, if you want to flip certain stuff, I think that just flipped it over here to the other page. Yep, that's what that did. It actually flipped everything on my spreads there to flip and mirror it. So that's kind of neat on some things. But just wanted to kind of go over those quick little basics here before we get into other stuff of the page. One thing I will suggest is when you're working on your pages or building your activity pages is to save and save often. We're going to get to another part at the end of this, but I'll show you why it's important to save and kind of save your steps often here. So we went over bleeds and margins. We've gone over just our basic toolbars and that. So the next thing I'm going to shrink some stuff back down and bring that back up. And we're going to go over some templates here. So on just kind of how can we start building some of these pages. So there's a couple ways you can actually do this here. Um, Now, kind of looking at the tabs we have going vertically, Pages tab, this is just going to allow you to navigate to your other pages that you have in here really quickly. It's where you can jump around. And next tab down, Designs. Designs is where you're going to find all of the templates that are housed in the program. Now, for today's kind of webinar, what we're going to be looking at is under the Page Surfer section. Page Surfer section of templates houses all of our candid and activity page templates that we have here. Um, so kind of looking at, there's six kind of subcategories that are under Page Surfer here. Um, Candids is the folder where you're going to find the most basic candid templates. It's mostly they're templates that are just mainly photo boxes. Some are just photo boxes only. Some will have, here, I'll just bring this first set on here. So some, like this one, just consists of photo boxes that have a little icon in the middle. These other elements here just filler shapes you can do to access color. This also comes with a heading spot that is here. Um, and like I said, some have more going on than others. I'll just bring this one over. So this one drops all of those shapes and that. And now you can see it's just like a headline here. There are some for just if you have to toss a candid page somewhere in the middle of the book quick or just need just a basic photo layout, we'll have those here. So it's good, drag and drop it on. I'm going to clear one side off here. Now, when building a page, a couple different ways that you can go about building it. So with this side, I'm just going to keep it as a template. With your templates, and you're working with images, it's just when you drag and drop them over. Now, if a template, you'll see when I drag and drop an image over a photo box, you're going to see two colors. If the image is high enough resolution, or if its size and resolution is large enough, when you bring it over a particular box, if that image will work for that box, it'll light up green. And when you drop it, um, it'll go ahead and fill the box. Um, I'll just point this out while it pops up, is a duplicate image warning. So the image that I'm bringing onto the page now is one that I've already used before in some other example. I already have it on another page. Um, but that is good to kind of show here. So it does, if you've used an image before, there you will get a message that's been used. I'm just gonna hit yes, so I can use it again here. So you see it drops in if it's good. Let me find, here we go. Now, if your image is, if you have small, you never know the source it's coming through, but if you get an image or upload an image, you bring it over a box, you see it turns red, that is letting you know that that photo does not meet the size and resolution to fill that box. One thing about our program is it's not going to enlarge an image beyond its actual size. Can it still be used? Yes. So if I let go of this image, so if I even put it over this box and let go of it, well, the program doesn't put it in the box that we were trying to take it to. It's going to just put it in its own new photo box and kind of keep it close to the size it is. So you see, I just slide this over here. Now with small images, when you're working on them and resizing them, let's say you don't use a template, because that's another way. You can just build pages by dragging and dropping your images over. Um, you can even from the art tab that is here, you can bring on different photo box. If you don't want to, dragging and dropping it just from the images tab will bring them on square. But if you want to try other style image frames, These will be here under art and an image frame. So now bring these over, you'll see that they can go into those different shapes that are here. Now, one thing about these small images, and I'm going back to that one that I had before. So if you run into small images, so if you're working on a page and you're trying to drag it, and you'll notice that, hey, I can't make this any larger. We're getting a message right here. It's just saying that the image has reached maximum size required to maintain print quality. So it's basically just telling you it's not it's not going to be enlarged beyond its actual print resolution. And that's just to keep it from being distorted or really blown out of proportion. Make it look lower. It's going to keep it from looking worse than because if you take something small in certain programs, if it does allow you to make it bigger, it kind of makes it even blurrier or something at that point. So the program is just going to try to keep that from doing that. And by doing that, if it's a small image, um, it's going to restrict it at that point. But yeah, a lot of this, what you'll see when you're building your pages is dragging and dropping them on. Now, one thing here, I want to pick a different template here. So one thing about the templates that are here in the program is, let's say that you kind of like this starting look of this template, but maybe you wanted to make some changes to it. Like, let's say that, I want to move these boxes down just a little bit. So you can highlight the boxes, and then what I'm doing now is I'm just using the arrow keys on my keyboard to nudge this down a little bit more. And let's say I don't want that bar at the top, so I can take that off. Um, and now it's kind of working with the other thing. So I want to, now that I took that bar off, maybe with my text, I want to change color and stuff like that. Now, when working with different elements on a page, you'll notice that above the page, depending on what you have selected, you'll get a toolbar here that'll change it. It's called the contextual toolbar, and it's going to change its options depending on what page element you have selected. So if we have a photo selected, it's going to give us photo editing options that are here. So we could put, I need a bigger photo here. Let's see, can I make that one? So different photo editing options that we have here. Um, so this first one, there's stroke. These three deal stroke, so you can pick a stroke size, and that puts a simple border around an image. So when you're looking at stroke, the higher the point number, the thicker that stroke will be. And then you can also change its color to anything like that. We also have under this little magic wand is format and effects. If this was a square photo, you could round the corners. You can make things kind of transparent and see-through. Some people do this with like certain clip art graphics and that. If you think some of your photos maybe just a tad dark, you want to lighten it just a little bit, you can kind of tint it a little bit, which lightens it. You can also add drop shadow to your images here. And what drop shadow is going to going to make your images or text on the page looks like it has some depth or kind of a raised look a little bit. So once you apply the drop shadow, you can then kind of adjust that. What's the distance? Where's the light? Where's the shadow? Where's the lighting coming from? The opacity is, do we want that just a very bold drop shadow, or we kind of want to back it off? How much is kind of blurring and fading out? So we can do things like that. Um, now so that's photos. Photos has other options. There's also snap edit, which then you can do some filters on your photos. So if you want to make your photos black and white or sepia toned, or even do some neat color overlays, things like that, you can kind of work with multiple ones there. Give your images kind of a neat look there on the page here. So back over to our template where we have this text. So if I select my text box, now that toolbar up here has different text editing options. So I'm going to keep the font the same. I'm going to make that box a little bit bigger because I did want to make my font size just a little larger. And then from this drop down, I'm going to change the color. So I can go ahead and choose color for there. Some other things that you can do with the text box, new stroke style. You can put a stroke on the box that's there. I'm going to undo that. Some other neat things that you can do here with your text, and let's see if I can zoom in here. So with our text and that, so when you have a text box selected and you go to the color drop down, you'll see that there's 4 different options that are up the top here. So under just this first A, this is text fill. This is changing your main text color that is there. Now, if we go to text stroke, this then will put a kind of a stroke around your text here. So both A's are working with your text. One is the fill and one is the outside. Now these other 2 boxes are working with the text box itself. So we've got shape fill. So if I wanted to fill this in with some kind of color, I could do that. And now if I did shape stroke, what this is going to do, it's going to put a stroke box around, and we can also adjust the size of that box or that stroke on there. But for the template I'm saving here, I think I'm just going to, hold on, can I do that? There we go, tweak it just a little bit. I might leave it like that. I don't want that as a little bit better. So one thing that you probably saw that when I made that text box just a little bit smaller is that we got a red X that goes through it. Anytime you're working on your pages and you come across the little red X that is there, this is letting you know a couple of things. One, it could be that not all text in the text box is showing. So let's say that you had a small little paragraph, but maybe left off the last line. It would put this X there. In that case, you just need to make the text box just a little bit deeper so all the text shows. And that's kind of the same case here. So if you with this heading, for me to get all of the text to show, I just need to make the box just a little bit bigger, and that way my text shows there. But just wanted to run out, mention red X while it was there, while I show it and what that means. So again, if you come across red X in your text box, usually most part just means that you have text that is covered up that just needs to be your box just needs to be opened up more to show that. Something else that can throw that red X is, let's say I get done, let's say I put in a heading or I put in something and then I hit like a hard return. Well, that hard return, the extra spacing is going to throw off that box as well. So if you're in a text box and you notice something like this, it's like, well, all the text is showing. Why is it, have the red X here? Um, what you would do in that case is put a cursor into, put the cursor into your text box. If it opens up way down below, or if it puts the cursor down below, that will let you know you got extra space that it's causing that red X. All you have to do in that case, just backspace out that extra spacing, and that'll take care of the X that is there. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit to make a few other changes here. So some other things, let's say on like this top row, maybe I want to go with a different frame, a different frame that's there. Maybe I want to do circles across the top here. One thing I'll do with these 3 highlighted is, now that I've got those 3 highlighted, or these, at least just these image frames, If we go back under the edit menu, a new option has just showed up for change shape. So then I could change it to any of these other shapes that are here. So circle or circle oval, diamond, pentagon, hexagon, anything that you see here. You would do trapezoid, but I'm going to go, I want to put those two ovals there. And let's say that, well, maybe I don't like this one. Maybe, so I'm going to put that one back to rectangle. Um, Now another thing on here is, maybe I don't have a photo that's too bad, but maybe I want to put a little kind of a block paragraph that's in here. Well, let's just kind of put one in. So one neat thing about our templates is um, you can use them how they are when they come on, but our templates are also you can modify these to your liking or what works best for you. So in this case, I would like to add a paragraph box. Maybe each teacher this year has a small little message to her students or their students or his students. Just, on some we've seen this, but let's say there's a teacher message that needs to go in here. So what we can do, I'm going to bring this box down, and I'd like to put a text box in here. Now, if I go over to the left, I've got the text tab. And going to the text tab is how we're going to add text box, just adding a text box to a page. Now, when you look over here, you have a few things here. You'll see add or remove style, but you got page number. What page number is this if you've accidentally deleted the page number off your page, you can drag and drop page number over. It'll reapply the page number. But then we're looking at these other options that are here, and this is what we call styles. Now, what a style is, it's just a text box that's when you brought to a page, it starts with a set or a particular font size and style. Um, Now I can bring any one of these over to this spot. I'm going to bring body copy. So it adds a little text box there. And it's just going to start. So it started as the size, what the style is set at. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my box in here and have it ready for the message. Um, Now I do want that, maybe I want to change the font style on that to one of my other styles or other font styles that we have here. Um, Maybe I want to make that type just a little bigger as there. But like I said, the style is just how it start. When you brought to the page, that's just what it starts as. You can use that style like it is, um, but it's not locked into that font. So once you bring up any one of these styles to the page, any of them, you can change the font and size and color and do anything with after that point. All right, so I've got my text box in here. Um, okay, I think I'm pretty good on that. So if you think you've got a layout or you've made a layout and you're like, this is exactly what I want. I want to use this layout on a few other pages. So when you're at that point or you feel you're at that point, you want to save this to take it to other pages, just go up to File and do Save as Template. You're then going to get a little option or a little dialog box here to enter a name for it. So you're going to name your template. Um, I'm just going to name mine with today's date here. Now you can also then choose to do just the left page, do the right page, or you can do both pages there. I'm just going to do the left page in this example. I'm going to hit save. All right. Now, when you save your own templates, these will show up if I go under designs. Oh, I'm going to save here. I'm going to save here before I do many other things because I'm about to leave the page here. It looked like it to be from the other day. I was trying to find a quicker candid page that I had. Oh, I needed to go one more. Okay. So if I go under designs, so to find our template, we're going to go under this drop down. Now, any template that you have modified and saved as your own, or let's just say that you can take a blank page and you can start tossing on image frames and aligning them and putting on text boxes. Um, and once you save it, now all custom, they're going to show up under custom here, your templates, and they're going to be in my templates. So we go under my templates. Um, there we go, got the preview up. So here we have our template, and I'm just going to drag and drop it over to the page. Do you want to retain existing content in a new template? No, I want to override it. And here's all my template that I've dropped onto this page. Now, one thing I will show you is um, normally if you're still taking this template to the same side, it's going to keep the look that you have it. But one thing I will show you is if you create a template on a left page and then take it to a right page, it's going to, except for the headline here, it's going to flip and mirror the layout. So if you are looking to do, I want the exact same look from left and on, left and right, what you'll need to do in that case is actually just you're going to build yourself a left side template, and then you're also going to build yourself a right side template. That way you had two. Otherwise, if you were fine with it flipping, you could just have the one template if you wanted that mirrored look going between the pages. I just kind of wanted to show you this, just make sure you're, when you're doing that, it's not anything that's surprising or it brought to your page, it kind of goes, oh, whoa, I didn't know I was supposed to do that, but just wanted to put that out there. Um, Normally, I like to save templates without backgrounds, and that way it just kind of makes it easier to toss in a background at a later part on. But that's kind of where we're at as far as our template goes in building our pages. Let's just add a background. So a couple different ways that we can go about this. One of the first easiest ways to do this is if we go under the Art tab, we'll go under Background, and the program is filled with just tons and tons of just generic background images that you could use within your book. A lot of them within a certain particular series, you'll see different multiple colors that are there. We see a lot of books come through to where when they're using a set of backgrounds like this, different grade levels will be in different colors and that. So I think that's a good reason why there's plenty of, on certain stuff, lots of colors. But if you see a background that you want to go with, you like this, all you have to do from the clip art ones is drag and drop it over. It'll automatically fill in the page. Another thing, just actually, I just kind of noticed this. There's kind of heads up on this one. When working with type and backgrounds, um, one thing you'll want to do is black on dark doesn't print well, doesn't, and also light on light. So when you're working with, if you have dark backgrounds, fonts on the page, you'll want to have a really nice contrasting color. Where on this dark purple background, I could change that color, that text color to white, or maybe like a light yellow cut, something that stands and pops out well. I just wanted to show you that there. But any of these backgrounds, they just drag and drop over. And you can drag and drop a different one on for them to apply. Now, from here, the other way how we'll work with backgrounds, or let's say that you need to adjust any one of these backgrounds that are here. So to work with other backgrounds, to adjust backgrounds, here's where we're now going to go under that edit menu and pull up the change backgrounds menu. Again, uh, you'll actually have to work with the left and right page separately. So in this case, first thing I'll actually do is, let's say you have a template coming from last year, you put on a background, but you just want to take it off. Um, you'll actually use the change background menu. You just pick what side that you want, and at the very bottom of the menu is remove background, and that'll just take that background right off the page. If you're looking to do solid color backgrounds, this is the menu to use here as well. First option down, this is background color. You just click the little menu here, and then you'd go and find, the color that you wanted to put on that page. Or, okay, and then the next option down is choose background. Now this is what we're going to use where if we're looking for theme backgrounds. So if let's say that you've gone with one of our covers, and um, I'll just see what we have when we go through here. So if we do choose image, I've already been here for before, so I need to bring it back up. But where you're going to find the theme covers is you're going to go under clip art, and you're going to find these under by cover. So if I go under by cover here, now once you get under by cover, you'll notice all these names right here correspond with the names of the cover. So in this case, I might just do branching out here. It's been a big popular cover of ours for a few years. So when you bring up this, within those folders are some of their clip art pieces too. So that's why you'll see this red box around it, letting you know that this is not being able to be used for a background. Um, but sometimes when you skip through some of these, then you'll get to the different background options that are there. Um, let's see, here we go. I'll just use this purple. So I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to hit select. So now to do the other side, I'm going to hit right, and I'm going to hit choose image. It'll bring me back to that folder. And that is how we'll apply that. Now, I don't have really an example to show um, in my images that I have here, but one thing that we have seen, um, so while we have to navigate this way to get to the theme art, um, if you have pictures at your school, like we have seen in the past where some advisors have gone through and taken like a hallway shot, or maybe they've taken a class, just a classroom shot to where they're going to use, just a classroom shot of empty desks or something. But what they do, they'll upload that, and they will turn that into the background, and they'll lighten it up, but they'll use that as a background image. If you find backgrounds outside of the program that, maybe if you're looking through our program and you don't see backgrounds that maybe fit your theme, that what you're doing, um, if you find images out on the web, as long as they're not copyright protected or anything like that, or let's say you made something in an outside program, um, as long as it's large enough, you can upload it to the program. You can actually use the change background menu to then navigate to that image and apply it, as long as, like I said, as long as it's large enough, you can then apply it as a background. Um, now, one thing I did see, I'm going to find, I know we've had some in the past here. Here we go. So sometimes we have really busy backgrounds that are here. You're going to use this change background menu, and you can kind of lighten the tint on it. So one thing that you can see is, I'm going to put it about there. So if these two pages here by side, um, things kind of, when certain backgrounds are full color, everything kind of looks and kind of clashes together. Whereas on certain ones, if you lighten them just a little bit, what this will do is it brings the focus back to the foreground here. Because I mean, your background isn't supposed to be like very obtrusive or what catches your eye. It's just supposed to be the background thing. So if you lighten it a little bit, brings the focus back to the front where you can see your images better than on just certain full color backgrounds. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there. So if you're working with backgrounds at all, solid color, doing theme backgrounds, definitely go under edit and pull up the change background menu. It's a little floating menu here, so you can keep it up and just push it out of your way. But if it bugs you too much, just click the little X here, take it right off, and bring it back up again whenever you need it. Okay, so while we were working on templates, we showed formatting and that. I think really the last thing I wanted to show, and I probably kind of didn't do this right. But one thing, if you're the advisor on the account, I just wanted to show this very last thing just because this history tab that's here. And the history tab is only seen by advisors. But where this history tab can come into play, um, as you're working on your book. Oh, I started on a different page. Hold on. Yeah, while you're working on your book and while you're saving, um, the program keeps track of each and every save change for each page. So if you're working on a page, let's say you just lay down the base foundation and you're like, okay, here's my starting point, but I'm going to start working with formatting or something like that. So let's say that you get to a point where, it's like, you know what, I kind of want to start over where I was, before I started making a certain lot of changes. Um, Now it looks like I didn't save a good part in that, but if I come over to the history tab, um, let's just say this, I want to get set up for if I have to do something else here, or maybe I want to change, put the formatting back to previous point in time. What you can do is come over to this history tab, find that save point, and to go back to that time in history or put your page back to that time in history, all you have to do is drag and drop. Um, and then at that point, you can save again and kind of pick up from there. Um, but just wanted to point this out there. If you're working on it, that's save often. Um, now let's say that you were working on something and maybe you accidentally did a control all and you deleted everything and didn't even realize you had wiped off a page and saved and moved on. As long as you're saving your changes, you can always come back here to history and drop it back on. Um, so that was the last thing that I had to cover in today's. Just wanted to touch up on that. Um, I've got some time now. I got just a few minutes. Um, if you have any questions, please feel free to take yourself off mute and ask, or if you want to put your question into the chat box area, um, go ahead and go ahead with one of those if you want to do that too. I'd gladly answer any questions you all have.
Excuse me. I just wanted to clarify something. Um, when we're making these like collages or pages, you want us to bring our picture all the way up to that red line because we don't want to have like white space around. Is that correct?
Well, the program's not going to allow you to rest images between the blue and the red. It will either
Okay.
force it all the way out to the bleed, or if I move it back down, it'll force it in. But if I try to put
Okay.
something right here, force it. So it's just buffer area to keep anything from being trimmed. Um,
Got
but
it.
we do
Okay.
but we do have pages like people will just bring a whole bunch of candid photos on and have them
Yes.
all right up. You can do that too. It's just just all I say is just kind of work, watch what you're putting up near that trim line. So
Exactly. It has the photo has to fit with it. I get what you're saying.
yeah,
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. Oh, did have a good question here in the chat here. It says, will history only show history for the current page or for all pages? It the history keeps track of each and every save change for all of your pages within here. So I can, on the history tab, there's a page drop down here. So usually if you're on a spread, it'll open up to the left page. But if I wanted to restore what was here, I could go back to there. So, but yeah, good question. So yeah, no, it's all pages that keeps the history for. You're welcome. Um, okay. Um, Not seeing anything else come in. So I'm gonna, if it's okay with everybody, I'm gonna probably go ahead and wrap up for the afternoon. So thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Hopefully these demonstrations, of the functions related to the creation of activity pages may help when it comes time to build your yearbook. Using the templates already in the program and building your own templates should save you some time and give your book continuity. So feel free. Actually, this is actually the last one in this series. We will be doing the working with pages and the building activity pages. We're just doing a single another one of these. It's the same contact or same content we've been over, but we're doing another one of these in December. Usually we go over by the same, we typically go over the same outline, but nothing's ever we never really do things the same way. So we might actually slip something a little different in, but we do record those as well. So, even if you don't feel like attending, if you want to sign up just to get that recording later down the road, please sign up and, um, definitely like to get that information out to you all. So have a great rest of your afternoon. And if you have any further questions, please reach out to us, by phone. It's, 1-877-302-3140, or you can catch us by email at memorybook tech support@jostens.com. All right. Take care, everybody.